We talk a lot about the increasing mental health needs for kids and teens, but they're not the only age group who might need a little extra support.
Yeah, older adults can go through some big changes like health issues or needing caregivers that can result in some mental health challenges too.
Psychologist Dr. Saunders is checking in with us with some tips if you or maybe some parents that you know who are facing some of these issues. Good morning, Doc. Happy Thursday or happy Friday Eve, as I like to say.
Hello, friends. Happy Thursday, happy Friday Eve. And yes, we're talking a little bit more about older adults, like, way, way older than us. One of the things that's really important to note is that their mental health needs are actually different than in other stages of development.
Can we talk about loneliness and the effect that it has on the mental illness and things like that?
Yes, so that's a really, really important component. So the way I look at it is isolation or social isolation. The more that individuals, as you age, you go through different life stages, your friends change, friends sometimes fall away, and people that are retired, they don't have the same structure to their lives. So honestly, the more they are isolated, isolation is a huge, huge risk factor for anxiety and depression, and overall sense of well-being. So it's so important that our older folks stay connected and reduce that social isolation.
And what are some ways that we can check in, or some red flags so we can see that, these mental health symptoms may be present? Because I think especially for, kids whose parents are older and live a distance, like say your mom, right? My parents are 2 hours away at least. It's hard. You're not seeing the day-to-day, and that presents, I think, a whole other, troublesome situation, right?
So that's a good point. Yes. And I do think it is about regularly checking in. And it's not just your parents, it's your neighbors too, right? You haven't seen your neighbor in a couple weeks and you're wondering how they're doing. You bring them a cup of coffee and you just check in with them. So it's having regular check-ins. I do think that there is a sense of responsibility that each individual needs to take on when they do feel themselves slipping back, to reach out and let people know. Do something that creates some sense of production, right? Erickson's stages of development is generativity versus stagnation. We cannot let ourselves stagnate. We must do things that increase our sense of connection and give us purpose and meaning. And volunteerism is a great way to do that.
I was just thinking about that. If you might not even have your parents anymore, but you can still visit a nursing home and spread some joy and some kindness there by checking in with an elderly patient, even if it's a friend of someone you knew, or even if it's just you want to go and volunteer a little bit of your time.
Mm-hmm.
Right. There's so many different ways to create that sense of connection. I always think that the older folks in our lives have so much wisdom and knowledge and history to share with us. It's so important to stay connected to them. But it is really about the individual themselves, identifying when there's a problem and taking steps to connect to other people.
Yeah, what you were just saying about this, taking those steps to connect with other people, I think that that's really important, because especially coming out of the pandemic, we were facing this isolation, and it's almost like those interpersonal communication skills we're a little rusty on, and we want to get out of the Zoom era in a lot of ways and go face to face and see that person and hold their hand and touch them,
And that's a good point. So remember, some of our seniors are not as tech savvy about email or texting or, FaceTiming and those kinds of things. Sometimes a good old fashioned phone call where you can just hear someone's voice can really be very uplifting. So it's for us as a different generation, reaching out to those individuals who are in our lives, who we might need to make a little more effort to connect with. And it's the seniors themselves doing something, taking steps to feel more connected, going to your local library, finding something to volunteer with. Any kind of structure that you can add to your week that provides direct connection will be beneficial to your mental health.
Yeah, my mother's 90. She's going to be 92, and I keep encouraging her. She's like, it's just another day in the house. And I'm like, Ma, you got to go to the senior center, at least mingle with some of the people. They're too old for me at the senior center. I'm like, Ma, you're going to be 92.
Right. And that's a great attitude to have, right? That she doesn't want to hang out with those older folks. She wants to be with more people her own age.
Exactly. That mental fortitude that keeps them going.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it really is. But I definitely see what you're saying about the activities. And I think that even like people who enter retirement, right? We're used to just this hustle bustle and this crazy schedule in our lives. And all of a sudden it just like drops off. And what are you going to do with the time? You know, I think a lot of people sleep more, certainly, but you want to balance that with actually seeing people in your day. Right?
Structure is so important, whether you're a child, a teen, a young adult, adult with children, or, an older adult who's retired. Having some structure to your day or to your week. And I always call them anchor events. Like at least have one anchor event a day. You're going to go out for a walk or you're going to go have coffee with someone. What we know is that having that anchor event really helps you motivate and move forward. It's a reason to take a shower. It's a reason to change your clothes. It's a reason to do some laundry. It's having that anchor event, something to get you out of the house, giving you something to do that feels productive is what's going to help with your motivation.
Well, you're our Thursday anchor, and we thank you so much for being with us.
I appreciate that. Have a great day.
You too.
Thanks, Doc.
All right. How